Zeon tells Diana that she doesn't need to personally intervene in the battle. She just has to lend Zeon the elemental army, also known as Igrasia, under her command. "Let me ask you one more thing. Why did you look for me?" Diana asks, while making a serious, rough countenance. Zeon replies that it's because he knows that she loathes the third prince, Enoch, the most. Diana asks whether it's just because of this reason. Zeon adds that it's also because of what's under the Red Star Palace, the same Red Star Palace where Enoch stays in. Zeon asks whether these reasons aren't enough to persuade her. In the novel of Chronicles, Diana attacks Enoch, who had left the Imperial Palace during the royal parade a month from now. Of course, it wasn't a full-scale battle where she intervened herself, so she failed. The factor behind Diana deciding to secretly attack Enoch wasn't revealed in the Chronicles, but according to Zeon, it definitely had something to do with what's under the Red Star Palace. Diana thinks that Enoch is certainly the most annoying, and his insolent actions have been growing worse, so she was going to make him pay anyway. Moreover, considering the fact that one unit of Igrasia, the Elemental Army, has already been annihilated, and the vague information she has regarding what is under the Red Star Palace is also a concern which needs to be dealt with. "You surely have formulated a plan to execute this, right?" she asks after thinking deeply. Zeon then explains his plan to Diana. After Zeon's departure, and after listening to Zeon's plan, Diana says that she didn't expect him to have prepared a plan of such large scale. She thought he was scamming a simple ambush attack. Moreover, he wasn't even aiming for the parade. It's destructive and yet extremely dangerous. But if this really works out, Enoch's existence itself will be completely erased from the Imperial Palace. When she thinks about it, it's not completely impossible, rather, in another sense, a better opportunity than this may not arise again. So she thinks that now that she has agreed to it, she can't back out anyway. "How many elemental armies are currently at our disposal?" Diana asks her manager. The manager replies that all units except for the 7th and 8th that are carrying out their missions outside the Imperial City. Diana orders him bring them to the Blue Star Palace immediately, and he must make it seem natural, like they're doing it for the parade. The manager bows down his head and leaves the room while saying that he understood. Diana says that since she is at it, it's best to go all out from the beginning. "Diral, are you there?" Enoch calls for his assistant. "Where else would I be if not in this Imperial Palace?" Diral questions while smiling. In addition, he was trying to meet Enoch anyway, and as expected, it seems like both of their thoughts coincided. Enoch gets irritated as he tells Diral to stop this nonsense and asks how the experiment is going on. Diral replies that, thanks to the continuous supply of test subjects by His Highness Enoch, they've made significant progress, but they will need more time for perfection. "How much longer?" Enoch asks. Diral answers that he supposes that they'll need a few more weeks at least. Enoch thinks that it'd be perfect if it could be completed before the royal parade, but well, at the same time, it doesn't really matter to him now as he doesn't know why Zeon suddenly advanced the royal parade, but he decides to use it thoroughly against Zeon. Right, how are the preparations for the parade going?" Diral questions. Enoch answers that it's perfect, and it's just as Diral said, Zeon's motive behind executing the parade. Sooner is likely to force Enoch out of the Imperial Palace. To prepare for that, Enoch planned to secretly withdraw all his forces from the Red Star Palace tonight to get them out of the palace. Of course, according to Enoch, even with only the forces mobilized at the parade, it is possible to easily trample on the traps set by the likes of Zeon, but that sly fox has already exceeded Enoch's expectations a few times. Enoch is damn serious to completely crush Zeon with his overwhelming power this time around. He smiles while thinking that even if Zeon doesn't attack him, he can just attack Zeon first. Diral, while dancing, says that, at this rate, as long as no unexpected variables arise, they'll certainly be able to kill Prince Zeon. Suddenly the mood changes. Diral seriously advises Enoch to be careful, as the rumors regarding Prince Zeon recently have been unusual. Enoch reassures by saying that it doesn't matter. Even if Zeon is 10 times stronger than the rumors, he is confident that he can crush Zeon just fine this time. Enoch thinks that he won't grant Zeon a swift death. Rather, when Zeon falls into complete despair, Enoch will drive him into a corner which he can no longer escape from, and take his time killing Zeon so that he experiences the worst pain possible. Outside the Pointer Palace, Zeon receives the news that the third prince has started to take actions. "What about Lyoshina?" he asks. The informant replies that Lyoshina has already arrived at Hubris, which reassures Zeon that she would be able to arrive in time. "Are you going to leave immediately?" the informant asks. He suggests that it would be wise to wait for the Witch of the Heavenly Slaughter to reach the Imperial City. Zeon replies that it's not needed, as the attack must be done now. Zeon thinks that annihilating a unit of Diana's elemental army and proposing to host the royal parade sooner at the National Assembly was all done for this day. He explains that the reason why Enoch is his first target, although he is the easiest target in the imperial family, after some time, Enoch will become the most difficult opponent to take on. The third prince has been conducting experiments on humans with the demons under the Red Star Palace. Soon, Enoch will achieve a substantial result from that experiment and grow stronger rapidly. Originally, the peak of his power surge would be when the royal parade was supposed to be held, precisely in 1 month time. At that time, Enoch will be as challenging to eliminate as one of the world's strongest beings, Evelyn. That was also why Diana's attack failed in the Chronicles. The 1 week that Zeon had the National Assembly move up the royal parade by his window of time to kill Enoch. Finally, the time has come to start the first imperial family hunt. The gatekeeper of the Red Star Palace, Albert, is having a chat with his fellow worker. Even if Icarus is in ruins, shouldn't the lesser knights from the imperial city be sent to stand guard duty? Albert asks. The other gatekeeper tells him to stop grumbling. He says that, to be honest, he is just thankful that they're still alive right now. Albert agrees with his friend and says that it's true. But still, this is too much because it's not like it was their fault. So why they are the ones being punished for their superiors' poor choices, he asks. The gatekeeper tells Albert to be quiet. For now, at least, because they should keep a low profile, and once things calm down, they may be moved to different magic divisions. Suddenly, Albert notices something, as he points out in front by using his finger. Zeon enters with the army of Igrasia. As the gatekeeper's mind is processing the gravity of the situation, in mere seconds, his friend Albert is beheaded, and so is he. Zeon, with his army, infiltrates the Red Star Palace. Every knight protecting the Red Star Palace, after noticing that they are under attack, charges straight at Zeon. "How dare you attack the Red Star Palace in which His Highness Prince Enoch resides?" one of the charging knights asks. The commander knight of the Igrasia orders his troops to attack the ones that are charging first. They use water elements to make sharp tips of spears and launch an attack at the enemy knights. All the enemies get a sudden shock. Agnes Empire's strongest elemental army. Why is Igrasia here? They wonder as they get puzzled. The first wave of the enemy knights were dealt with ease, due to Igrasia's mighty power. The enemy team didn't even think that tonight they would get an ambush by the strongest elemental army of the Empire. Zeon thinks that the strongest elemental army in the Agnes Empire, Igrasia, was named that because just a few hundred of them have strength comparable to that of a squadron. The commander informs that the third Prince Enoch's office and bedroom are all located at the palace's top floor, and they'll immediately open up a path to it for Prince Zeon. Zeon tells the division operator of Igrasia that they should head to the basement as there's something that Diana wants to confirm there. The division is left in the dark as Zeon runs towards the stairs. The enemy knights are being burned by fire and killed by water element magic. The commander of Igrasia orders the magicians to destroy the enemy knights in order to head in. As he enters the basement, he gets furious to see that the third prince was using human lives as an experiment. "How could they use people's lives to do this?" he shouts furiously. The monsters who were once humans attack Igrasia. The first division operator declares that today, Igrasia will wipe out everything here and they will leave no traces behind whatsoever. In the meantime, Zeon is climbing up the stairs while killing the knight with his dark aura. Zeon realizes that he must reach Enoch as fast as possible, as most of the remaining forces in the Red Star Palace are probably underground, where the black magic laboratories are located. The enemy magician team shows themselves to stop Zeon. "How dare you look down on and antagonize us?" one of the magicians asks. He says that it seems Zeon desperately wants them to kill him. He shouts that he will crush Zeon at once. Zeon replies that he thinks that they are the desperate ones here. Zeon uses dark light to annihilate the enemies. When the Black Star leveled up from 2 to 3 stars, the Dark Circuit formation was the most significant change. Dark Circuit is a network formed within the user's body that's dedicated to channeling Dark Star's energy. The 3-star Dark Star is achieved by activating all the Dark Circuits. They allow for much faster speeds and more incredible efficiency compared to blood vessels which were initially used for conducting Dark Star's energy. So, Zeon thinks that this should be enough to handle these weaklings. Igrasia's first division operator Laguth feels that there is no end to these monsters. He says, "Who would have thought that the third prince would join hands with black magicians?" The human experiment lab is already shocking, moreover. The disgusting dark energy that fills up this entire basement floor is unbearable. He stumbles across a door. What is this place? He wonders, as he feels the dark energy radiating from it. He feels that something is going wrong inside this place. Diral, from the other side of the door, says that he did assume that Zeon might aim for the gap when the Red Star Palace is empty due to the parade, but he never predicted a full-scale attack. What should I do now? He thinks deeply. He thinks that the elemental army wouldn't be much of a problem, but the moment his existence is revealed here, the fact that this place has demons will be revealed too. If something goes wrong, there will be an enormous setback to the grand plan. So unfortunately, he has no other choice but to flee from this palace. He uses a stealth ability and makes a run outside the palace. He realizes that it'll be better if he approaches the third prince after things calm down later. Of course, it will only matter if they can survive this brutal battle. Firstly, he decides that he must get out of this imperial palace as fast as possible. Suddenly, he gets attacked with blood magic. "Who are you?" Leoshina asks. She says that Diral is looking very tasty to her. At the palace, Diana is wondering whether she has to go into the battle herself. What this battle stands for will completely change if she steps in herself. And well, to be honest, the moment she sent out Igrasia, she already realized that she essentially declared her involvement. But how in the world is Zeon planning to fight against Enoch, she thinks. According to her, Zeon can't handle Enoch alone yet, because Enoch is one of the outliers who defy common sense as he mastered the celestial star sea as well as magic simultaneously. Well, if Zeon dies, it won't be too bad for her either. But she is also curious about what's under the Red Star Palace. She thinks that at the very least Enoch has to die tonight. After hearing the news of the attack, Evelyn gathers with her army. What? The elemental army? In the Red Star Palace? Was this what you wanted, Zeon? Evelyn asks as she stands on the hill. She remembers what Zeon has told her, that no matter what happens at the Imperial Palace before the parade, Evelyn mustn't get involved at all costs. Judging by the countless elemental energy emissions, Evelyn wonders whether Diana is involved too. She thinks that nobody could have thought that things will blow up to such a proportion. While running inside the palace, Zeon wonders whether the magicians just now were the last of the forces. He then thinks that there's no way the infiltration of this palace will be this easy. Suddenly, he gets attacked by a girl demon and blocks it. The girl demon compliments Zeon for having such sharp senses as he was able to block this kind of ambush. She then jumps backwards and another orc-like demon attacks Zeon. Independent Demon Squadron Mid-Tier. Male demon Adam and Independent Demon Squadron Mid-Tier female demon Kazanya ask Zeon whether he has come here alone. Adum asks whether there is any need for them to fight with Zeon. Kazanya agrees with him and questions whether Diral doesn't know his own capabilities. Adum replies that Diral is being too much as he sent them to fight with such a weakling. Kazanya says that she thinks that Diral must have not thought that Zeon would have come here alone. Well, she guesses that this is perfect, as there were some annoying rumors about Zeon anyway. So killing him when they have a reason doesn't sound bad either. Adam agrees with her. He suggests that they should get rid of Zeon and go down, as there seems to be quite the ruckus in the basement. Kizanya replies that she thinks that Adam will be enough to take care of Zeon. At that moment, Zeon speaks up. He says that there's something that he needs to ask them. He asks them, what do they think about bugs that crawl around on the floor? He sets an example by saying that, let's suppose those bugs are blocking your way and talking strange nonsense about not knowing one's place, killing you and whatnot. How would you feel? Wouldn't you be extremely annoyed? He questions while transforming. On the contrary, Kizanya doesn't understand what Zeon is blabbering about. Zeon replies that's how he is feeling right now, extremely annoyed by some bugs. Zeon moves as fast as lightning and grabs Kizanya heads to push her down. The enemies didn't even notice when Zeon moved. Adum gets angry as he releases his demonic mana and rushes towards Zeon while saying that he will tear Zeon apart till there's not even a trace left. Zeon unlocks a new power, the armor of the deceased. If the light-extinguishing sword, Eclaxia, is Zeon's weapon, the armor of the decreased is Zeon's armor. While boosting all kinds of physical abilities, it also completely protects the user's body from all external influences. He uses the attack-pitched Dark Thunder to eliminate Adam, which traumatizes Kizanya. He says that the bugs are quite tenacious too while grabbing Kizanya's. Finally, he finishes the Kizanya with an impactful punch. It occurs to him that Enoch is blatantly calling for him by doing all sorts of things. Upon reaching Enoch's chamber, Zeon sees that Enoch is sitting on a chair, waiting for him to come. Enoch says that he expected that it was Zeon who will come here. Who would it be if not me? Zeon asks. Enoch bids Zeon welcome. He says that he must treat his precious guest with utmost care. Meanwhile, Leoshina is attacking Diral with her snakes, using blood magic. Where did someone like her suddenly appear from? Who is she? Diral wonders as he dodges the snakes. It terrifies Diral as he realizes that Leoshina is almost as strong as the seven heavens. He gets perplexed as he thinks that there's no way he hasn't heard about someone this strong. Was there someone in the Empire? No. In Imperial Palace who could wield blood magic to this extent? He wonders while being clueless. He realizes that his first priority is leaving the Imperial Palace, and if he wastes more time here, the Imperial Palace Night Order will come swarming. He then uses his demonic energy to cut Leoshina's body. He gets surprised to see that he defeated the girl that easily, without lingering. He decides to run quickly. As he turns his back to run, he hears a voice. Going somewhere? The voice asks. Diral turns around and sees that Lyoshina is restoring herself. Lyoshina says that she is not done yet. She uses her ultimate attack, the Sangria Requiem. Diral tries his best to block the attack with the power of his human form only, but he finds it really hard to do so. He understands that if this goes on, it'll be impossible for him to take on this red-eyed woman unless he returns to his true form. However, the problem is that his demonic energy will explode if he does that. As he is thinking about all of this, Lyoshina appears in front of him, telling him that he will die if he hesitates this much. At the Red Star Palace, Enoch explains that, at first, he thought that Zeon was just a flying bug. Someone who wouldn't cause any problems if left alone. But now, if he does that, Zeon's existence itself would continue to be an annoyance. At some point, how he perceives Zeon began to change. Still, he didn't care. He assumed that Zeon got lucky during the succession ceremony and believed Evelyn had helped Zeon during the Phantom Legion subjugation. He considered the Regan incident a mistake in his own judgment. However, he can see it clearly now that he was dancing in the palm of Zeon's hand from the very beginning. Enoch states that he acknowledges Zeon, and that's the solitary reason why he should harness all of his powers to kill Zeon right here and right now, while realizing his tremendous aura, a power mastered by the direct descendants of the Agnes family, the celestial star Sea. Before Enoch's succession ceremony, he was less talented in wielding it than his siblings. He could understand that Rubrius, the first prince, and Evelyn were able to harness the celestial star Sea before him. But the moment he saw that even Eutychon and Diana had gotten ahead of him, he had no choice but to face the truth that he had tried so hard to ignore. He could no longer deny it. 4 stars. That was all the celestial star Sea granted to him. After that, he immersed himself into studying magic obsessively. Was it because the Oslima family was my maternal family? He thought, and because of it he was easily able to reach the 8th circle, and once he grew capable of combining that magic with the celestial star Sea. In his own unique way, he was finally acknowledged as one of the monsters of the Agnes family. But that was still not enough for him, as he cannot secure the throne with this. The celestial star Sea denied his further growth, and his progress in magic was agonizingly slow. At that time, a person came to him telling him that he will escort Enoch right to the throne. In return, there's something that Enoch must do with that person, named Diral. Enoch accepted that offer and made Diral a laboratory underground. In that place, they conducted experiments without discriminating between species. But Enoch didn't care about any of it. No. He even encouraged it because the results of those experiments resulted in his own growth. Presently, he is standing in front of Zeon with all that gathered power over the years in order to kill him. Zeon, while transforming into his armor of the deceased, says that he would like to do the same thing to Enoch. The spiritual pressure of the room increased tremendously because of these two fighting head-to-head as if the room is being frozen to its core. Upon seeing Zeon's new form, Enoch thinks that he doesn't know what the heck is this. But as long as it's not the same celestial star Sea, it doesn't matter. Regardless of what power that darkness may hold, he can just suppress it. Enoch launches a huge-scale attack using the 8th circle magic along with the celestial star Sea. On the contrary, Zeon confidently uses a single slash. He named it the Black Flash, which pierces Enoch's magic as if it was nothing. Without any further delay, Zeon rushes towards Enoch. "Aren't you approaching me too directly?" Enoch asks, while attacking Zeon with arrows, but his arrows couldn't touch Zeon because of the armor which created a barrier to stop the arrow. Zeon answers that it's the most effective way. He uses the attack pitch Dark Thunder, which startles Enoch as he uses a powerful shield to block it. Enoch gets astonished to even think that the imprisoned prince, once deemed the royal family's disgrace, Zeon has become this, and can harness this kind of strength, but it's still not enough to bring him down. Enoch then uses an ultimate attack, the Starstream Galaxy Lactea, which is powerful enough to break Zeon's armor of the deceased and crushes Zeon to the ground. Is this all you've got? Just what makes you think you can stand up to May with this? Enoch questions while floating in the room. Enoch asks whether Zeon is too foolish to assess Enoch's powers, or has he finally gone mad? Enoch says that Zeon is born to be a simpleton, so no matter how hard he tries, he will always remain a simpleton. He states that he will kill Zeon here and tear apart all those who dared infiltrate his palace, and this is how it should have been from the beginning. At that moment, the ground starts to shake while Zeon speaks up. But you see, why did you think that was all I had? Zeon asks upon standing up. He reminds Enoch that never once did he say that that was all he had. One of the ancient gods, Kronos, asked the humans 5 questions. One of those questions was, how does time move? The answer could be found in the power that arises from this question, time freeze, the first authority of the 5 questions of Kronos. Time is a concept composed of countless discrete moments, to dwell indefinitely in one such moment. The phantom legend was created by the authority of time freeze. Zeon says that Kronos' bracelet just happens to be done adjusting. Zeon starts to use the power of the bracelet while Enoch doesn't even understand what is happening with him right now. What are you doing? What have you done? Enoch questions desperately, aimlessly wondering about the answers. He asks Zeon if he is trying to make a final struggle or something, while he is the one who is getting afraid. He starts to use the power of the celestial star C, thinking that whatever method Zeon uses, he can't overturn his chances of winning because the gap is too large already. He uses the Galaxis Spear to attack. Zeon rushes towards Enoch and grabs his face to push him backwards. Zeon corners his enemy, and Enoch controls his stars to attack Zeon from the back in order to buy him some time to escape this situation so that he can counterattack. Enoch realizes that he has to put some distance between them, while Zeon has already restored his armor. Enoch finds it difficult to get away, so he uses the Starstream explosion and smirks as he thinks that this barrier will be hard to break, even for Zeon. But in the next moment, he gets shocked to see that Zeon easily overpowers the barrier. Is that all you've got? If it isn't, give it your all, Zeon shouts as he humiliates Enoch. He overpowers Enoch and sends him flying away. Enoch hits the wall of a corner. Zeon appears in front of Enoch, telling him to take this fight seriously, otherwise he will die. Zeon slashes Enoch while Enoch slightly moves backwards. Zeon then uses the power of the overlapping lunar eclipse. Originally, this would have been no different from an act of suicide, but if Zeon uses time freeze, it's possible. A technique that improves his physical abilities and the Black Star's output. He thinks that this should be enough. After all, these two were the only things Zeon was lacking to begin with. Zeon swings his sword at Enoch, and Enoch moves backwards. Zeon speeds up and slashes his enemy again, while Enoch is barely dodging all the attacks. Enoch realizes that, if this keeps up, he will really die. Has Zeon been hiding his power from the beginning? He wonders. He thinks that if it's not that, then he must turn the situation upside down at all costs. He decides that he must pour out all his power at once and uses Galaxis halos to kill Zeon. Zeon, holding the Eclaxia, uses a single strike, the lunar snap, while countering Enoch's ultimate attack. After seeing this, Enoch's hands and legs tremble in fear as if he is up against an entity who devours monsters. Am I going to die here? In the hands of that guy who was called the Imperial family's disgrace? He wonders while trembling. He says that he can't let this end at that. Upon getting furious, he says that he shall kill Zeon and he won't leave a single bone behind. Moreover, he says that he will completely erase Zeon from this world. He decides to use the dark energy transplant. It's still incomplete, so he wasn't planning on using it, but he thinks that it's better to use it than losing his life here. Outside the palace, on a cliff, Evelyn, with her army, witnesses the dark energy flowing from the Red Star Palace. Evelyn wonders whether this is what Zeon was planning to show her. Meanwhile, Lyoshina also stops the fight for a second, while sensing the dark energy, and Diral finally gets a chance to escape. Diral uses a stealth ability to escape, and Lyoshina loses sight of him. She says that it's a shame that she lost him. Lyoshina thinks that Diral was definitely strong enough to the point where she couldn't guarantee her victory. On the contract, it also means that if she had absorbed him, she would have made noticeable progress. Upon fighting Diral, she noticed that he definitely wasn't trying to infiltrate the Imperial Palace. He was running away from it, which means he was originally at the palace to begin with. She realizes that Diral and his companions must be the real deal, the true enemy that her master was talking about. It excites Lyoshina to even think that Diral was a high-ranking demon who is this powerful, even though he is not even the head of the demons. She gets happy. She says that no matter how much she thinks about it, it's a good thing that she decided to follow her master. She suddenly remembers that she was told to come to the Red Star Palace, so she decides to go there as quickly as possible. Inside the palace, Enoch is using demonic energy to attack Zeon. Zeon gets behind Enoch and swings his sword while saying that he has been waiting for Enoch to use demonic energy. Zeon uses slashes after slashes of Eclaxia to bring Enoch down, and Enoch is getting heavily damaged. The fight between the two siblings is currently reaching a climax, with Zeon having the upper hand. Zeon thinks that just the human experimentation, alone conducted in the Red Star Palace underground, would probably not have been enough justification to kill Enoch as he cuts Enoch's right arm. He then pierces Enoch's heart using Eclaxia. Enoch accepts that this is the end for him now, so he wanted to know who the person standing in front of him is, because it absolutely can't be Zeon. Moreover, Enoch says that if this person were the real Zeon Agnes that Enoch knew of, if he were a human, there would absolutely be no way for this entity to have such eyes. Zeon replies that he is not sure. He thinks that it's not simply a problem about whether he is Zeon Agnes or Emperor Aurelian Khan Agnes. Ever since he became the emperor in his original world, when he wasn't in the chronicles of the novel, he has had a fundamental question. Why does he possess a presence different from ordinary people? Why is he the only one who can control the Black Star? Once he gains complete mastery over the Black Star, he thinks that he may be able to find the answer. Enoch, while taking his last breath, declares Zeon the winner of this battle and admits defeat. Zeon remembers that the authority of one of the 5 questions can only be wielded once, but he subjugated the Phantom Legend to begin with, in order to use it during his fight with Enoch. At that moment, Diana Agnes enters the Red Star Palace with her escorts. "Did you really kill Enoch?" she asks. She gets astonished when she thinks that if Zeon did it. She thought he'd do it with the help to Igrasia, the strongest elemental army. Even if Enoch is weaker than the other royalty, he's still Enoch, someone who is called a monster. Zeon tells Diana to save the surprises for later, because firstly, they need to clean this up. At the Pointer Star Palace, Priscilla is looking outside the window and is quite surprised. She says that it's her first time seeing so many people rushing somewhere like that. She questions Zeon why isn't he letting any one of them in. Zeon simply replies that it's because he doesn't need them. Zeon thinks that among those on Enoch's side, Thierry from the Eternal Shadows has already won over the useful ones. Those making their way here are just ordinary people who won't be that helpful, so there's no reason for him to meet them. Priscilla stares at Zeon and notices that he definitely looks the same as before, but he feels like a different person, and his vibe is completely different. How does it taste? Surprising, isn't it? She asks while smiling. After she learnt that Imperial Prince Zeon enjoys coffee, she learned how to brew coffee from one of the top 5 baristas in the Empire. Zeon replies that it is indeed surprising, because of how bad it tastes, teases her till the end. Lyoshina says that she thinks that it tastes all right, except for the overly strong acidity. Priscilla gets dumbfounded as she thinks that she is foolish for expecting anything as a compliment out of Zeon's mouth. Lyoshina tries to console Priscilla, who is crying, by saying that her master has quite a picky palate, so it's difficult to please him. Upon noticing Lyoshina, Priscilla wonders whether there is demon blood flowing through her body. She shouts at Lyoshina that she doesn't need her evaluation regarding this matter. Priscilla says that there's something that she needs to ask Lyoshina. "What in the world is your relationship with His Highness since you keep calling him master?" she questions. Lyoshina replies, while firmly touching Zeon's face by her hand, that her master is everything to her and he even owns her soul. "What?" Priscilla shouts in astonishment, while Zeon gives Lyoshina signs telling her to back down. Zeon feels that the aftermath from using lunar eclipse last time is still here. He is almost recovered by resting, but the fundamental problem is that the gradual accumulation of damage within his body isn't disappearing. If this were his original body, he would have had no permanent after effects after adequate rest, and if he keeps using lunar eclipse like this body may end up ruined. Before that happens, he must meet the strange doctor. He thinks that he needs to find this sword's missing piece too. After all, he can't keep using it in its destroyed state. The problem is, inside the Chronicles, Eclaxia isn't even mentioned. Additionally, he must further solidify Zeon's forces. He realizes that there's a mountain of work that he needs to be done. The major events stated in the Chronicles are still proceeding as they are supposed to, although sooner or later he will have to overhaul this grand narrative. By the way, is it about time for him to appear? Zeon wonders while Fredo enters. Fredo informs that there's someone who wishes to see His Highness. Who is it? Zeon questions. Fredo answers that it's Sir Alstein Ascalon, the captain of the 2nd Division of the Agnes Knight Order, one of the 5 best swordsmen in the Empire, and a member of the Ascalon family, Zeon's maternal family, which is hailed as the greatest swordsman family in the Agnes Empire. At Evelyn's palace, she is thinking that it's been 3 days. That's how long it has been since Enoch's death. From what she heard, it seemed like Zeon was losing, but after a certain point with exponentially increasing power, he overwhelmed Enoch. What's more amazing is that, in this situation, instead of opposing it, the forces on Prince Enoch's side, including the Oslima family, seem to be trying to distance themselves from it desperately. The black magic and human experiments found in the Red Star Palace's basement, as well as the fact that Enoch himself possessed demonic energy. Each and every single thing is considered one of the greatest taboos in the Empire. Even the slightest involvement could result in the entire family's eradication. She concludes that from the beginning, Zeon may have considered it and planned all of this. He purposefully advanced the succession ceremony, emptied the Red Star Palace, and took bold actions. Moreover, he's even absorbing Enoch's forces at a speed similar to Diana's. She realizes that she may even need to prepare to compete against Zeon now. At that moment, she is informed that she has a guest. "Who is it?" Evelyn asks. The knight replies that it's the 4th Prince Eutychon.